Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 531 for October 12th, 2022. And hello everybody, I am Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks for clicking on Ham Radio Crash Course here on YouTube to watch Ham Nation back again. We're going to dive right in. We've got a tight crew today. We got a lot to talk about, but a tight number of people. We'll mention right up front, Pacificon is this week. That's why we got so many people that are going up to Pacificon. So I will start, as I've been told I need to. Amanda, how are you this fine evening?
I am
Start
fantastic.
with the ladies first. Ladies first is what I was doing.
I didn't know that that's how we were starting. I'm
sorry. We'll come back to you at the back end.
Yes.
Throw back. Don will throw back to you, and then there we go.
Or he'll throw it at me. One of the two.
It could happen.
Well, then let's go to Don, and then we'll go to Amanda.
Well, see, now I'm all confused. It doesn't matter because yesterday was Amanda's birthday, so that's what we need to get out of the way. Very first of all is wish Amanda a happy birthday, and we hope you had a great day, and we love you, and we appreciate you, and you are Ham Radio's sweetheart for sure. So happy birthday to you. We've got a look at the solar update from Dr. T, and a look at the headlines of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline. And so that's kind of what I'm bringing to the table. Amanda, what do you got going on?
Oh, we have a fantastic guest, by the way, everybody.
Yes.
I'd like to welcome Kay Savetz here from the DLARC. Now, what is that? Well, Kay's going to tell us everything about it, and then we're going to be watching for your chat room questions because we know you're going to have a lot of questions on what you can do for this organization. But Kay, take it away. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm Kay Savetz, K6KJN. I work for the Internet Archive. Internet Archive, you may have heard of. It is a nonprofit online library. A lot of people know them as the Wayback Machine. If you've used the Wayback Machine tool, which lets you look at old websites that are gone or how websites used to be, that's them. And the archive has launched a new initiative, as you said, Amanda, called the DLARC, the Digital Library of Amateur Radio and Communications, which is, I hope, going to be the ultimate online library of all things related to ham radio and related things. Internet Archive got a grant from a foundation called ARDC, the Amateur Radio Digital Communications Foundation, and it is my job to make this digital library of amateur radio, and I've been doing it for about 6 weeks, and I've just dived in and finding all the content I can.
Awesome. So we're kind of the first on the syndicate here for your tour, which I'm assuming that you're going to be on it to introduce this to everybody everywhere, any which way you can.
I'm going to try, sure. Yes.
Absolutely. And we're here to help you do that. So, well, first, you said it started from the Wayback Machine, so we know what kind of prompted this. How many it's in your group? How many are on your board? How many are helping make this happen?
Well, the Internet Archive itself has been around for 26 years now, founded by a guy named Brewster Kahle. He made some neat tech a long time ago. He sold it to Amazon for a lot of money and decided, I'm going to start a library. I want to build the modern Library of Alexandria. So that's what Internet Archive. And there's a board and there's stuff and there's people keeping it all on the Digital Library of Amateur Radio is but a small section of what Internet Archive does. And I mean, honestly, the digital library is me. I'm the I'm the person at the gate saying yes, that's great. Someone offers a donation of material. I'm the guy you got to get past with your boxes of ham radio magazines or whatever. So hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. So the next thing is, I think this is already answered as well. Are some of the bigger organizations helping you out at all with supplying some content, such as ARRL, IARU, things like that?
I have been doing this honestly for 6 weeks. My first announcement of this was on YouTube a month ago. I have talked to the history department at ARRL, and they're talking to me, and they seem, I think, enthusiastic. I haven't talked to the other big group yet because I just haven't gotten to them, but I am excited to do that. I've talked to several people who are prominent ham radio folks who have expressed interest. Some have already donated material. And we're scanning it. So what's happening is people. My kind of pitch, but my broad pitch is like you have you have bookshelves, falling down with old ham radio books. You can donate them to this project. The Internet Archive will take them and scan them. We have the ability to scan like massive amounts of material using fast, high quality scanners that don't destroy the documents. And then we'll store it forever and keep it safe, and then get the information online. So print material and also video and audio tapes. What was the question?
No, you're fine. So this actually brings me to my next question. You've mentioned some of the materials that you're looking for. I mean, is this anything from rare DXpedition QSL cards,
Yes.
maybe video from
Yes.
DXpedition, those old camcorders, VHS and others. I can't even think of what they were because it was a little bit before my time. But so you're looking for anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. As you know, ham radio has been around for a long time, more than 100 years, and it means different things to different people. And if you are a person who has gone on DXpeditions to Timbuktu and you have video of that, and you think that that's something that is important to somebody in the history as a part of the history of ham radio, absolutely, we want that. The many books that have been scanned that have been written about ham radio, we can scan those and get those online. Of course, magazines, magazines, yes, but we're covered. We're good. We got 73. We got QST. Those things are. But man, there's a billion local ham radio club newsletters. And stuff like that. Just like what was going on in a particular ham radio club in whatever, the 1950s, the 1990s, whatever. In fact, you're looking at the thing there. If you can find the link to something called Florida Skip, it's one of the collections there, Josh. Maybe you'll see it.
For it.
If you just search
refresh it.
Yeah, or hit the collections button on the left side there, and it'll make it easier to find.
And while Josh is looking for that, the databasing on this seems crazy. So you'd be able to be searching by call signs, by maybe locations, by a club name,
right.
all kinds of things.
Part of my job is to metadata the heck out of this, and so everything that's in here. For instance, these what is it, 65 Florida Skip newsletters, it's all full text searchable as soon as it gets in there. So I don't know, say your grandpa was a ham, you search for his call sign. If he was mentioned in here, it'll come up. So this, a gentleman, this is an interesting one because a gentleman offered, he's like, hey, this guy had already scanned these newsletters from this Florida regional newsletters from the late 60s and early 70s. And he already scanned 65 issues. And he's like, hey, do you want these scans? Like, yes. And he's like, what do I do with the original issues? I'm like, we'll take those too. So we take those, and those are being preserved. And then the awesome part that I'm excited about is the guy who made these newsletters, he died, but his son is alive, has his dad's call sign. I contacted the son, and the son is just seems happy that his dad's magazine is online, and the son has an attic filled with other issues that he's going to send in. So we're going to have, awesome. I know, it's just great.
That is amazing. So then, Kay, how do people submit this kind of stuff to you?
Sure. If you have material that either you want to donate or like material that you created yourself, for instance, I don't know, a podcast or pictures you took or a video or whatever, I just need to know about it and we'll see if it's appropriate. And the way to do that is to email me. It's K-A-Y @archive.org. That'll go straight to me and I will read your email and we'll start a discussion. That's the way to do it.
It sounds really fantastic. Now the next thing, and I had sent this question to you earlier. What about copyrighted material? How do you guys handle that?
Great question. Internet Archive uses a tool, a technique called controlled digital lending. If we own a book and we scan a book, we keep the book, we can lend out that book to one person at a time for every copy of that book we have, just like a library. Like go to the library, they have a book, you can borrow it, you have it for an hour or a week or whatever it is, you give it back, and then only then can someone else. So it avoids the whole copyright issue by treating it like a library, because the Internet Archive is a registered library, and that's how it operates. If it's something that you have created, you can upload it. You can sign a thing saying we can give it to everybody, and then we can do that. So that's the whole. There's no problem there. So that's how we did. Now some of the old ham radio material, as you know, has been floating around the internet for 50 years, right? It's some old newsletter about RTTY or something, and it's just like out there, and it's kind of more of a squishier legal zone, and I'm doing my best to not anger the Internet Archive's lawyers and to not anger the ham radio community, and just to do what's right. I mean, if a newsletter's been out there on FTP servers for 20 years, I'm just going to make it easier to see on Archive,
So question
Go ahead,
too,
Josh.
I think just for some clarification, you're not just grabbing the latest copy of QST and scanning it and throwing it on there, right? You're looking for the older stuff. We were obviously looking at the Florida Skip, which is long time out of publish. The owner/creator of it has passed away at this point. So right. What's your authority process that you go through? Do you contact the copyright holders if they still are around?
If it's something like I said, if it's something like a book, and we own it and we've scanned it, we will control digital lend it. If the author writes to us and says, "Hey, please don't have my book on there," sure, we'll take it down. But as a library, that's how we operate. If it's something that is less clear, I mean, no, we're not going to put up the latest issue of QST without the ARRL saying it's okay.
What if it's in publication, like a book, for instance? You brought up the book example. That's a great one.
Right. If it's in publication, and we own a copy, you could go to your local library and check it out. You can come to us and check it out. We're not letting you download PDFs. We're not letting you. We're not letting you. Print out 1,000 copies and email to your friends. You can read it on the website, for a period of time. We're really trying to do the absolute best to not hurt content creators at all. That said, interesting story. Wayne Green, of course, of 73 Magazine, he donated a bunch of the full run of 73 to Internet Archive, and it was even written in his obit by the ARRL, said that he'd done that, and just I kept finding people saying, yeah, he put them in the public domain, he gave them to Internet Archive, but I couldn't find anything in writing from Wayne. I was just I believe the community believes that this is a thing, but I just couldn't. I want to find something. I want proof. And I couldn't find it. So I found his heirs. I found his daughters and explained the situation, and they signed a form saying, yeah, put up 73. So the entire run of 73 is available free and legal. You can download the PDFs of those because the family said it was great.
That's amazing. And everybody, we have to find now it's our job, everyone here. We have to find the 73 article that has Gordo back in like the 70s, I believe, putting up some kind of antenna, probably on the beach. And he just is a different looking man. And it's amazing. So be sure to go out there and search for it once they get everything up. Now, are those
it's up, actually. I mean, you should be able to do full text search and find it before.
Okay.
Those are up right now. You could find it before we were done recording today.
I'm already mid-search, and I searched Gordon, and one came up, so I'm going to start going through this while you guys talk.
It's fantastic. So this has to take a ton of space, like terabytes and terabytes. Is this something you're hosting yourselves on your own servers, or is it kind of cloud-based?
Archive,
it is. Okay.
Archive has its own servers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're
I'm
fine.
excited. I think this is the coolest thing. Archive has its own servers. They don't use cloud or anything. They have 100 petabytes of information stored. 100 petabytes.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a petabyte is 1,000 terabytes.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot of information. And it's backed up. It's duplicated. There's copy in Canada. There's the main servers are in San Francisco, where there's never going to be earthquakes or fires or anything.
Right.
So.
What could possibly go wrong there?
Right. Like San Francisco, really, you guys? Sorry, I just got fired. Just got the text.
Never ever invite your bosses to watch this show. Ever.
So they have a lot of information.
Right?
And that's for everything. That's the Wayback Machine. That's everything else they do. They have a library of 78 records, old-timey 78 RPM records, a huge library of, so that stuff's the ham radio library right now is a fraction of a drop of a smidgen of a, tiny bit of that. Yeah. But basically, guys, we can make this as big as we want to. No one's going to say no. Oh, sorry, that's 100 magazines. That's too much information. No, nobody's going to say no.
Never.
About in the storage space aspect.
That makes sense to me. Go ahead, Josh.
Lots of questions in different publications that are probably now not available, like World Radio. Have you heard of anything about World Radio?
Not yet. I have a whole spreadsheet of things, but that one doesn't pop to mind. No.
And then there's Electric Radio. Already the chat's blown up with their favorite.
If you have copies of World Radio and Electric Radio and whatnot that you're willing to donate, you won't have your copy anymore, but the world will have it forever.
Or can they just scan it and send it to you?
No.
Okay. It's kind of like QSL card checkers. Occasionally, you just have to send them in, and you have to trust that they're going to check it out. And
you mentioned QSL cards earlier, and I don't think I addressed that. Absolutely, QSL cards. A couple of people have already contacted me and said, their dad has a shoebox full of QSL cards, and can we put them online? And I would love to do that. Just like have this person's collection of cards and just pictures of cards. And for that, yes, you don't have to give us your cards because you own them. They're that's kind of different. But yeah,
I was going to say
yourself,
you do not have enough warehouse space for that.
You could scan them yourself, or we could borrow them and scan them and then get them back to you. And then then there'll be the so and so QSL card collection and newsletters, QSL cards, videos, podcasts, logbooks.
Wow.
I'm talking with MIT, who has their radio club has logbooks from the 1920s. Yeah.
Wow.
Sure. Wouldn't that
That'd
be amazing?
Fascinating to look at.
It would be. I think so too. That'd be fun. And as you had said, you can view it all, but you can't download it to print it or anything like that. So, what else do I have for you? Okay. Give us some examples of the coolest archives you have, or the most unusual.
Sure. This is with my 6 weeks of work. already showed you Florida Skip. I have amassed about 14 or 15,000 items so far, like individual items. The one of them is called this one I'm proud of it, HF Happenings, which is an amateur radio newsletter published by the South African Radio League, and they had about 300 issues on their website. I asked for their permission, like, hey, can we host them here as well? There'll be backup. It will increase your visibility, be more searchable. He said, sure. So I took his 300 issues with his permission. They're online. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. This collection starts at like whatever, issue 600 or something like that. Do you have anything before? And he went to an old hard drive and he sent me 300 more issues that are not on the internet anymore. So this is like unique. So that's like, for me, that's very cool because we took something that has basically been forgotten. I think it was online originally, but they're not online anymore. They've been inaccessible, and now they're there again. And so, and yeah, it's from this radio club in South Africa. Another one I'm it just makes me happy. It's not a big deal. It just makes me happy. Is the Ham Radio Outlet catalog library. Ham Radio Outlet is this company that sells ham radio gear. I'm sure many of us have heard of it. And if you go to their website, you can see the most recent catalog. Well, I wrote to them and I was just like, hey, what about older catalogs? And they put me in touch with like the guy who like does the catalog layout for them. And he sent me 15 older issues of catalogs that he happened to, they don't really save them, but he had the digital files. So he sent them to me. And so now, I don't know, if you want to reminisce about that time you looked at a catalog in the summer of 2016, you can.
And you can talk about how an FT60 was only, $79.95 and now it's $169.95. Right. See, this could absolutely be useful for researchers or something like, exactly when did this particular Yaesu go on sale? When was it, available? How much did it cost? And, that could be useful for research or just for a good reminisce.
Just the nostalgia of looking through old catalogs is fascinating to me. It's like old Radio Shack catalogs from the 70s, the mid 70s, when I was just getting into CB radio. It's like, you can find those online, and I love going through those and looking at all that.
Yeah, I didn't really think about Radio Shack.
Think about old Heathkit catalogs from way back when. Oh, that's a great resource.
Okay. So my only other question was, what's your plan? What's your group's plan to keep this preserved for eternity?
Okay.
I mean,
I think that's a loaded question, Amanda. Nothing is forever, but Internet Archive is working hard to make sure that this lasts a long time. The board is looking at a view of a couple of generations. Let's look. That's all you can predict for, right? I mean,
sure.
50, 75, 100 years. Who knows what's going to happen? One day, this is not my original idea, but something I heard and I really like. One day, the Internet Archive, the 100 petabytes, is going to be a folder on someone's hard drive, right? It's just, it's going to be.
That's true.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's
all we can do. I mean, they are doing what they can to plan for the future to make sure that this lasts, but you can't plan too far in the future. Okay. But I do know there are backups so that when San Francisco has another earthquake, it's not going to go away.
You have to keep your job now.
I'm seeing a couple of questions in the chat room, Kay, that is kind of interesting. One, where are the original documents stored after they're scanned, the ones that are sent to you? And two, how many people are involved in the archiving?
Great questions.
Okay. Actually, I think I've been told, but I don't actually remember where I think it's also in the Bay Area. There's a couple of different storage facilities that are huge warehouses. Like, you remember that last scene of Indiana Jones, where
Yep.
Oh yes.
Top men.
When
You're
there's
saying
like
top
that-
men are working on it, Kay. Top
Right.
men.
Yeah.
Oh man, that scene where there's like the warehouse that is just like enormously huge. It's just like, you know, they hide the Ark of the Covenant there. It's like that. It's just an enormous space where things are cataloged and filed, and that's where the original things go. I'm sorry, what was the part two of the question?
How many people are involved in the archiving besides you?
Oh, as far as this goes, so I'm the pretty face. Say something is donated, is offered to donate, whatever, a pile of books or whatnot, then that will go to the scanning center in Fort Wayne, Indiana. There are a number of people there. I have not met them. I do not know. But you know, there's 5 or 10 people there doing scanning. And then if it is videos, then it will likely go to my buddy Jason in New York, who does, you know, the videotape ingestion. So, and then the archive has, I don't know how many employees, you know, how many dozens of employees it has who are running the servers and keeping the Wayback Machine running and doing all that stuff. So there is it's not just me going, hey, send me your stuff, guys. There's an infrastructure behind it.
Very
I hope
interesting.
that answers the question.
It is really interesting, and also that you're everywhere. So I don't know if you want to answer this question. You absolutely don't have to, but ARDC is a fantastic group, and they've been giving out money just to every organization wherever they see a warrant for it. They're like, yes, take our money and please do something very good with it. So how much did they help you? I mean, what does it cost to run this whole organization? Those could be 2 different questions, by the way.
The ARDC grant is specifically for the ham radio stuff. I could be cagey, but I won't, because anybody can look it up. The grant was for just shy of $900,000.
Wow.
So it's a very large grant, and that covers my salary. It covers shipping. It covers scanning. It covers storage. It covers that sort of material. So that sort of work. So
That's fine.
if somebody says they have literally a room full of ham radio books and there's something that we need, we'll take it. We'll pay for shipping. I'll scan it. We'll get it online.
Oh, come on. You're not going to go out there with the box truck and go pick it up yourself?
I might. Actually, okay, so somebody contacted me and said that their grandfather was a ham radio operator, and he was a little bit of a hoarder, and since he's died, no one's touched any of his stuff, and grandma still lives in the same house, et cetera, and do I want to deal with it? And the stuff is in Oregon City, Oregon, which is, I could walk there. I could walk there from my house. So I might show up with a box truck, yes.
Well, there you go. Josh, any more questions from the chat room?
Lots of people just commenting on different things.
Okay.
We kind of asked all the questions. I know Heathkit has been mentioned multiple times, and I bet that would just be a wonderful treasure trove to get, not just any of the publications on it, but the actual manuals. I'm sure that would just be a treasure trove. For
I didn't
all
even
those
mention
old
manuals.
kid-builder
Yes,
radios.
manuals. I want manuals for everything. And yes, Heathkit, absolutely. That is on the list. In Radio Shack, it's on the list now.
I don't quite understand this one. You could probably decipher this better than me. How are duplicates handled? Do you even take duplicates once you get an original copy of something?
Okay, like for a book, I just had this discussion with someone yesterday. If someone offers a duplicate book in a pile of stuff, it's fine. We'll take it. Mm-hmm. In fact, we can make two people can check it out at once from the library. once we have 2 copies. And yet, duplicates do take up storage space that could be used by some unique material. So if someone offered me a complete collection right now of 73 magazine, I would have to say no, thank you. We've got that covered, as discussed before. But so I have wiggle room, but I don't need 100 copies of the same thing either.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I found it.
Hard.
I found the one of the most interesting ones, the amateur radio stations of the United States, and it's all of our names are in a book as long as you were licensed between 1920 and 1923. So here you go.
Wow, there you go.
Isn't that cool? That's
How many pages? How many pages is it? Like
110 from what it looks like reading it here.
Wow.
Those
That's
old
fantastic.
call books that you that were available before everything went online are fascinating to look through as well.
Yeah, look at
They
that.
really are. And I love seeing old logbooks posted online and
Yeah.
stuff too. It's pretty neat. And
Yeah.
just a nostalgic QSL cards. I'm a sucker for it all. Well,
Yeah.
Kay, anything else you want to tell our viewers tonight?
No, other than I've got the best job in the world. I get to talk to ham radio people all day and save some of the history, and I'm very excited by it. And if people want to contact me with questions or stuff to donate or whatever, KAYK@archive.org.
Thank
Very
you so
cool.
much, Kay. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, everybody, go out to your garages, I guess, and dig out some stuff.
Just think of all the ham fests you go to where there's those books that are just piled up that you can take away 10 of them for $5 that they're just trying to get rid of them. It sounds like they'd get a good home with the Internet Archive. So think about that, guys.
That's very
All right.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
Kay, stick around if you want to. Otherwise, you can disconnect at any time. So we appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. And now we're going to go to Icom.
Keep your competitive contesting edge with Icom. Icom's high-powered base stations cut through pileups, letting you work the bands and record those contacts. Contest from the comfort of your home or remotely with the RSBA One app. Heard it, worked it, logged it. The IC7300 is a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design that will far exceed your expectations. This innovative HF transceiver digitizes RF before various receiver stages, reducing inherent noise in different IF stages. The IC7300 changed the way entry-level HF is designed. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. The real HF fun starts here. Create your own band opening with the IC9700. This transceiver brings direct sampling to the UHF-VHF weak signal world. This all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features that are sure to keep you busy. Faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. 4.3-inch color touchscreen TFT LCD, real-time high-speed spectrum scope, and waterfall display. Smooth satellite operation with 99 satellite channels, dual watch operation, and full duplex operation in satellite mode. Icom's IC7610 is the SDR every ham wants. This high-performance SDR can pick out faint signals in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The Icom 7610 is a direct sampling, software-defined radio that has changed the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. RF direct sampling system, 110 RMDR, independent dual receiver, dual digicell. Icom's IC7851 gives you a new window into the RF world and is HF excellence unparalleled. With faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal, it's truly the pinnacle of HF perfection. Dual receivers, digital IF filters, memory keyer, digital voice recorder, high-resolution spectrum waterfall display, enhanced PC connectivity, and SD memory card slot. Learn more about all these great Icom radios at icomamerica.com/amateur.
And a huge thank you to Icom for sponsoring Ham Nation. We really do appreciate all the support they give us. And you know what? Every month they give away a radio, as my younger son would say. They give a radio away, and this month it is going to be a 2730 Alpha. Now, to get in on this, it's really quite simple. You go to the link in the description for Icom America, and you click that little button that says Enter Now. You provide some information like an email and your call sign, and you will be entered into what's called the Swag Pack giveaway. Every time we go live on Ham Nation, they pick 3 winners for a swag pack. So you're winning a swag pack at least. Then your name goes into the long list of everybody who's won swag packs for the year, and at the end of the month, they will pick somebody from that list to win a radio. So who won swag packs for this episode? Gene C, W6HNE, Nigel H, KB9, RUG, I like that, KB9 Rug, Tom N, KF0HGJ, all won swag packs from Icom. So congratulations to you all, and thanks again to Icom. So Dawn, throwing it over to you, how are you doing?
I am doing great. We've got the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline, but you mentioned the RUG call sign being cool. I kind of like Kay's K6KJN call sign, because living down here in greater New Orleans, Cajun sounds like, KJN sounds like Cajun. And I had...
That was my dad's sign.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Can I tell you something I forgot to say before? I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I should have left already. But just last week, I passed the test for Amateur Extra.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Yeah. Hardest test I've ever taken, even though, given the answers and the questions ahead of time, and it's just like, Jesus. Anyway.
I feel your pain. I studied for a year for Extra. Wow. And it was all the math. It was the math and the antenna theory that confused me. And
polar coordinates. Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Negative J? J's not a damn number. What the hell? So, but luckily those questions that I got, I knew the answers to, and didn't even have to pull my calculator out. So I lucked out and got the easy version of the test, I guess. But anyway, congratulations on Extra. That's great.
Anyway, I was going to say, the reason I interrupted you is they, after the VE is just like, hey, do you want to change your call sign to an Extra call sign? And I'm just like, absolutely not. I'm keeping K6KJN. That's,
Right on.
So anyway,
very
I'll let
cool.
you get back to work. I'm sorry.
Very cool. Yeah, well, I changed mine because the AE happens to be, it's an Extra call sign, and it's also my dad's first and middle initial, and then the DW is my first and last. So that worked out well for me. So that K6KJN, that rolls off the tongue, and that's a good sounding call sign. So yeah, it's good that and plus it was your dad, so that's good that you kept that. Excellent. Good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline, and we'll have a shorty from Dr. T. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report, number 2345. This is Ham Nation Headlines for Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. NASA has selected 2 more amateur radio operators to be on board the maiden voyage of the Boeing Starliner 1 next year as part of the agency's commercial crew program.
2 amateur radio operators were recently chosen to return to the International Space Station, but this time they expect to arrive there aboard the first flight of NASA's new Boeing Starliner 1. Astronaut Scott Tingle, KG5NZA, will be its commander, and Mike Finke, KE5AIT of NASA, will serve as the Starliner's pilot. They will join Jeanette Epps, KF5QNU, who will be aboard as mission specialist. NASA assigned her in August of 2020 to join the crew. There is no launch date yet for Starliner 1. It must complete NASA's Boeing Crew Flight Test, which ensures the spacecraft can fly crewed missions to the ISS on a regular basis. This is part of NASA's commercial crew program. The first test flight is scheduled for early 2023. I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO.
If you're involved in scouting or know someone who is, you know that October is a big month on the Scout calendar.
Jamboree on the Air and Jamboree on the Internet is the world's largest digital scout event taking place on the Internet and over the airwaves. Held every year in October, the event connects millions of young people around the world for a full weekend of online activities that promote friendship and global citizenship. In 2022, Joda Jodai takes place from the 14th to the 16th of October. For the Joda side of the event, scouts and guides all over the world will connect with each other by means of amateur radio. Short wave and digital radio signals carry their voices to virtually any corner of the world. It's the sheer excitement of having a live conversation with a fellow scout or guide at some other place in the world that attracts so many young people to this event. Event planning information or resources can be found on the K2BSA website at k2bsa.net. Register your station today at jotajoti.info and check out the virtual campsite where you can find lots of activities for this travel-free jamboree. For Amateur Radio Newsline and the K2BSA Amateur Radio Association, this is Bill Stearns, NE4RD.
Members of the ITU have chosen their next leader, and she's not just the first woman, she's a ham.
The International Telecommunications Union, the United Nations agency that coordinates telecommunications operations globally, has elected an amateur radio operator from the U.S. as its new Secretary General. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, KD2JTX, will be the first woman to hold that office when she succeeds Howlin Zhao on January 1st. Her campaign page on the U.S. Department of State website lists her deep involvement with the ITU, most recently as director of the ITU's Telecommunications Development Bureau. The website listed her accomplishments in bringing about upgrades that better embrace digital advances, and that her work in the role supported global efforts to promote school connectivity and greater involvement of youth. Under her leadership, the ITU focused on giving youth more of a voice in strategy and programs. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Bill Stearns, NE4RD, Dave Parks, WB8ODF, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wellbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
The sun continues to have poor aim this week. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, you can see there aren't a lot of active regions in Earth view, but there sure are a lot of filaments. You can tell they look like little worm structures on the face of the sun, and this means that the potential for solar storm launches is very high. In fact, back on the 7th, near region 3111, we had a solar storm launch that went west of Earth. It's actually giving us a glancing passage to the west of Earth now. And then if we fast forward to the 8th and then the 9th and 10th, right around in that region down in the south, you can see several solar storm launches from a filament region. And this is giving a set of solar storms that are launching that are going to the east of Earth and are going to give us a glancing blow in and around the 14th. And then as we begin to move into the 11th, you can see region 3112 really begins to light up and fire off some big M-class flares. And this gave us a little bit of radio blackouts, reasonably short radio blackouts, but it also launched yet another solar storm. And this solar storm looks like it's going to give us another glancing blow right around the 15th. So we're going to be expecting a little bit of disturbance here and there to the east, to the west of us, but it seems as if Earth is dodging bullets, and that's going to continue to be the story. Luckily, it doesn't look like there's too many other active regions that are being big flare players, so radio blackouts are definitely going to be calming down here over the next week. Now, as we take a look at our far-sighted sun, this is stereo A, and it's looking at the sun just a little bit from the side. You can see region 3112 as it begins to rotate off of the west limb in stereo's view, and you can also see down in the south the filament launches that were kind of like 1-2 kind of punches that are going to be actually launched to the east of Earth. Those are still coming, but look behind it. Look at the east limb in stereo's view. You see those bright regions? Well, these are active regions that are going to be returning into Earth view. It doesn't look like they're going to be big flare players, so it does look like the radio blackout risk is going to be decreasing easily over this next week, but luckily it means solar flux will remain high, and that means good radio propagation on Earth's day side. For more details on this week's space weather, including how those glancing solar storms and the radio blackouts might affect you, come check out my channel or see me at spaceweatherwoman.com.
Thank you very much, Dr. T. We certainly appreciate you and everybody with the Newsline team for putting these reports together. Great stuff. And, of course, follow Dr. T on Twitter at Tamitha Skov. Tamitha Skov is also her YouTube channel, and then spaceweatherwoman.com is her website. And we certainly appreciate her. Amanda, Dr. T wanted me to personally pass along her birthday wishes to you, so so consider them passed.
That's really sweet of her. Love Dr.
Yeah, she's a darling. She really is.
I couldn't. I was waiting for the bam bams, and
Maybe next time.
All right.
That bright stuff coming around the side. We'll have to see.
I'll tell you what. All right. So I don't typically do this. I probably check it out about every 6 months. I go on to Google Play if you're an Android user, otherwise Apple Play, whatever. Josh, help me out.
The App Store.
App Store.
The App Store. Thank you. So I was just looking I just type in ham radio and I'm scrolling through a whole bunch of ham exams, Morse code, learn this, do that, an antenna calculator, and then something catches my eye. And I see a 705 remote app. I'm like, what? There's a remote app? So I'm going to tell you this does not have Amanda's approval.
No greasy thumbprint of approval from Alden.
I saw that it had 3.8 stars for a review, and I'm like, okay, I've installed worse, so not a problem. But no,
danger.
It kind of is, right? You do look at those reviews, you're if it's below a 4.2, I'm not sure it's worth it. And then you look at the amount of downloads as well. Anyhow, so I don't even know what this app is practical for. I think Josh has it as well. But basically, you can be walking maybe with your 705 stuck in your pack behind you on your back, and you can have your microphone out. But this is basically just going to change the VFO, turn the radio on, turn it off, and it loses connection every time your phone goes to sleep, at least on an Android. So I found it absolutely worthless, but maybe there is actually like some kind of use for it. Hiking and you're getting rained on. I don't even know.
You actually, I think you hit the use case, and I'll bring myself up for a second here.
Okay.
I think you hit the use case because the Icom backpack, when it's in the backpack, you're not going to see it. And you may have it on connected to like a VHF, UHF antenna.
Yeah,
you may
that
have
makes
your mic. That is a use case I could get behind. But I'm like you, if I'm sitting in front of my radio and I can't mic or keyboard or, do anything to interface with the radio other than change the VFO, and it won't play the audio of the radio. It's
That's right.
Control. It's purely control. So it has, I can see the backpack now. That's about the limit I've got for it.
Yeah, I was really hoping I had high hopes and dreams of I can have the 705 in the camper and I can walk out, flip the burgers, key up.
Ham Radio QRP said it. He's like, I use it for the 705 pedestrian mobile in the backpack. There you go. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, well, if anyone else has any remote applications for 705, that one was bunk, so let me know.
Do you have an iPad?
My husband does.
So there is something called...
There's an Apple user and an Android user at his house.
A house divided.
But I'll tell you what. So the developer of, what is it? Smart SDR, I believe, the software that they use to control the Flex radios.
Okay.
He developed a Mac OS and iPad OS version, very similar, that will control many of the HF Icom radios, including the 705. And that will do mic and speaker. It has a built-in FT8 tool. It has a built-in logger. It'll do all the things. And if you have any questions, Amanda, you can go watch my video I did on it.
I might actually have to do that.
SDR control is very good. And I'll tell you, they're not giving it away. It's not cheap. It's very good though. Very good.
Yeah.
And Josh, tell us what it is again.
SDR control on the iPad or Apple OS for the actual laptop.
Because we have some other remote software that is by Icom, and we have that just so that we can fire up our 7610 here and operate remotely.
RSB1A is the Icom software. And now the advantage of that with the 705 is because the 705 has a built-in wireless LAN adapter, you can actually wirelessly connect to the 705 via a laptop when portable.
Okay.
So you can literally set the radio down wherever your antenna is, get it in the shade, put it on a table or something, and then you can walk away so long as you have wireless connection, and it will work.
That sounds good. One other weird thing that Jeff thought of doing this, we were camping and we had the wire antenna connected to the 705. We were in a spot where we couldn't get any AM or FM radio stations, and it's kind of our pastime is to listen to the old 80s station. Yep. I said old in that. Yep. Okay. So we tried to Bluetooth it to our IRV66 radio that's built into the camper, and we could not ever get it to Bluetooth, and like we wanted to listen to the speakers over the whole system instead of just over the radio. So if anyone has any tips or tricks,
I do have
we
a
missed
subtle.
something.
I do have kind of an answer for that too. So hold on. I will. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna spoil
See,
a
this
little
is
bit
a
about.
helping group.
Yeah. So the Icom VS3 Bluetooth module. So let me get this, if it'll get into focus. It's the little Bluetooth module. It has a microphone built in, but it has a 3.5 millimeter jack, so you can plug into any speakers. So if you have an aux cable for like a car or anything like that, you can go directly in with this. Now, this is really cool. This is one of my favorite little devices because the arrows will actually scroll the VFO for you. And you can use the other third button as a programmable in addition to just PTTing the radio.
Oh, that's really cool. So you just need an extra little module, and then you can just plug into the auxiliary. Cool.
Right. If you just have an aux cable, a 3.5 millimeter aux cable into your car or your RV or one of those little speakers. Yeah.
Yes, that as well. So, all right, that was the end of that talk. Don't download the app. You're going to be sorry, and it's going to waste space on your phone.
There you go.
All right, what else do we got? Well, of course, Gordo couldn't be here tonight because he's at Pacificon. So was Randy, and I've been a whole bunch of other people. And it was also nice to catch up with Joe Eisenberg this weekend while I was in Wyoming at HamCon for the Rocky Mountain Division. That was a great time. Totally laid back. I got to wear my boots the whole time. So anyhow, Gordo wanted us to mention, don't forget about the free materials available on haminstructor.com. Josh is awesome enough to pull that up. So they have all kinds of learning instructions, materials for you to download, and he encourages you all to do it. So
it looks like you may need to make an account.
Oh,
so you do have to make an account, and an email it'll send you an email when you create an account with them after you sign up, and then you should have access.
Okay, that sounds easy enough. So free registration. I don't think they send out a lot of spammy emails like Bath and Body Works does, where 20% off every other day, actually like 5 times a day. So that's what I've got for tonight. Josh, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at, and everybody telling me about my audio. I don't know what happened, but this is where it's at right now. I adjusted it some, but we're going to take a look at my budding collection of portable CW keys. Now, I've only showed a few of these on videos before, and they're kind of like onesie twosies as we go along, but I thought I would kind of go through and just give a couple of my thoughts on what, people, as they're starting to get more interested in Morse code, they may start thinking about, grabbing a little itty-bitty radio like this and going out and doing a Parks on the Air, or more likely maybe a Summits on the Air activation. And so these little tiny portable keys are really great, but I do want to give a nod for the people that are straight key users. There's a ton of just really nice straight keys that are available that you can get at Hamfest. And you know what? This is plenty portable if you think about it. It's definitely bigger than my mountain topper here, but if you get right down to it, this isn't that difficult to carry. With that said, American Morse makes 3D printed keys, and this is one of the examples of their straight key. And it's all 3D printed plastic. This is their ultra portable one, and you can see the difference between these two. It's kind of night and day. Very inexpensive because, again, it's mainly 3D printed parts. They do have larger versions of these, and we've definitely talked about them on Ham Nation before. Some are adjustable so that you can actually adjust the vertical throw of the keys for you straight key users. Those are really nice. Couple of others here, I'll mention these. These are made by K6ARK, who's been on my channel many times, and they're a kind of a copy, his attempt at making an inexpensive version of the Palm Pico paddle. And the Palm Pico paddle is pretty much now defunct. You can't get them anymore. These they're very highly sought after keys, very difficult to get, very expensive. And Adam is working on his 3D printed version of these, and they work the same way. They slide in, slide out. They have a plate with magnets on the bottom, so you can attach it to radios that magnets will work with. And they come with a little cable in the back. Adam's going to make these available on Amazon, but if you go to his website, which if it's not linked in the description, I will add it. You can find them on Amazon as well for his antenna kits, and that's likely where he will be dropping these as they come out. All right, next, I don't know the name of this, but I'll tell you how to find it. It's really quite simple. This is a iambic key off eBay. And if you search Morse code, iambic key, or paddle, this will come up. And this is not exactly inexpensive. I think it's like close to $80 now. But it is a reversible iambic paddle. It's got a little switch in the back. And 3 really, really strong magnets. So you can throw this on the side or slap it on top of a radio. And it's not going to go anywhere. So for being portable, it's actually quite nice. So you won't have to grab it like you would with other keys and work them like that. Pretty good. With that said, the other one here, which is a lot lighter, this is the Radio Adventure Guy key. And this one has a similar kind of sliding action where the key, your paddles come sliding out, and it's got a base plate in the bottom with a magnet. And you can mount it with screw holes that are I can't think. They're countersunk for the holes, so you can slide it on and off of something. It does have the wire permanently attached, but it's pretty fine, and it packs up pretty small. Last but not least, the holdout keys, as I like to call them. These are the N6 ARA keys, and you can get these online. And they are little tiny iambic paddles. Let me see if I can get this focused in for you so you can get a much closer view of this. Yeah, so it's mounted on a PCB, and you got the little contact leads, and you just go in here and doot, and they fold up into itself. And so this key, I generally pack, with me all the time. I leave that in whatever bag I'm taking. Even if I'm taking a larger key like the Adventure key, I'll always have something like the N6 ARAs. Did I get that right? Or is it K6? No, it's N6 ARA. This one, though, is really cool, too, because it plugs right into the radio. So something like you KX2 users or KX3 users, this plugs right in the front, and then you can just get to work using it. So for radios where it's got a front-mounted CW spot, it's a great little setup. So, yeah, those are just some of them, my little portable setup or portable keys. I've done some other videos on keys like this and talking about some other ones that are recommended, and I've had people on the shows to talk about different stuff. So if you want to know more about that, just search for Morse code on my channel, and you'll find more details on some of these. And last week, we did a build of this CW hotline, which allows you, in this case, you could plug a key into it, right? Or you can use the paddles here. You can connect this to your computer, and via a website, you can do online Morse code practice, which is pretty cool for those of you that are getting started in trying to improve your Morse code. So there you go. That's just a little quickie on that. Yeah.
That is pretty cool, actually. Like, really nice.
So yeah, there's nothing I guess this is one of my ham radio goals that I haven't been able to achieve yet. These little tiny radios, right? I mean, just absolutely tiny, right? Just so small. The idea that I can have a bag, literally just, a little bit bigger than this, have the antenna, the battery, the key, and little earbuds, and I can just be anywhere with my family, like on a picnic, and just, throw a wire in the tree and just start making crazy contacts is just something that has always really appealed to me. And with things like Parks on the Air and Summits on the Air, there's really like no excuse not to get started with stuff like that, because it's
pretty wild.
It's amazing. It's just the portable space that we're in between tiny things like this and the 705 that pretty much does everything you'd want it to do, like you have a shack in your backpack, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Throw it all in a Crown Royal bag and head to the park.
That's right.
What I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Indeed.
Wait, Josh, aren't you doing some kind of trip like that here in November?
I am. Thank you for reminding me, Amanda. Speaking of campouts and getting out there, I'm hosting a campout with K6ARK, previously mentioned, a YouTuber out here. So you can look him up, K6ARK. We're going to be going to Thomas Mountain. The link is in the description. And straight up, it can't be easier. It is going to be November 11th, 12th, and 13th. Just show up. It's a first come, first serve campsite. We don't expect a whole lot of people, so we're not worried about running out of space. But yeah, it's just a bunch of dudes playing ham radio in the middle of nowhere. It's off of a dirt road, so probably don't want to go in your lowered Civics and Accords. You probably need something with a little bit higher wheelbase to get out there, but it's not like an aggressive off-road trail. It's just a dirt road. So just about anything will get there.
Oh, and that's fine.
Yeah, come out for a day, come out for the whole weekend. We're going to be camping and that's pretty much it. And
playing ham radio.
It's a POTA. It's a POTA and a SOTA, I believe. It will. Will definitely be a Summits on the air, so we'll be activating that for sure. And then my wife wants me to let everyone know that she is planning for my birthday a camp out in Ramona, California. It is on a POTA. We already have the campsites booked, and so she's figuring out a way to let everybody know about that. And I believe she's going to be like cooking and doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So look forward to that. The reason we picked this campsite, we stayed there before, absolutely zero noise floor, not a peep, and it's
nice
right there on a Parks on the Air location, so you can get to activating every day that we're going to be out there. So look forward to that.
When will that be?
April next year. April.
Okay.
So
time to plan.
Yeah, you definitely have some time to plan.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Amanda, for reminding me.
Of course. And one more thing, Josh. Are you pretty proficient in Morse code?
I can chase. I can chase Parks on the Air activators. That's about my ability at this point. I'd like to get to the point that I can properly activate. Then I'd be quite happy with myself.
You'd be solid. Yeah, definitely golden. You know.
Yeah. Why do you ask?
I was just curious on, you have all of these
She's
CW
nosy.
keys. I am nosy.
Well, what happens is some of them, like Adams, were sent to me. And the Palm Pico paddle, I knew that they were highly sought after, and I had a line on one, and so I was like, oh, I got to get this because they're almost impossible to find now. So that was the easy one there. And I think, yeah, most of them I just found at Hamfest and whatnot. The other ones, yeah.
Yeah, I think Joe, K0NEB, he's like 3D printed one as well. So and he's kind of given them out to some of his kit building classes and stuff. That's pretty neat.
That's right. He had a little assembly kit. I think he had a couple of ham shows where he would walk people through it. So it was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And if you haven't been to one of Joe's kit building seminars at one of the Hamfests, you definitely need to go because it's that man is amazing. The stuff that he knows and is willing to share the info is just he is a great resource. He really is.
And he's so funny. So I went to his forum this weekend, and you want to know how to blow up your laptop? This is how you blow up your laptop. Ask me how I know.
Yep.
He's just hilarious and great, and really a great speaker, and everyone really just gets involved with him. So
yeah, he's a great guy.
Thank you, Joe. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and you can give a recap of Wyoming and wherever else you're headed to this month. All right. Does anyone else have anything else for the show?
Nets. Do we need to mention Nets?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead, Don. You first, and then
I was gonna say I'm done. You stick a fork in me. I just wanted to again wish you a happy birthday, and that's
Thank
about
you, darling. I appreciate it. I really appreciated Kay being on here tonight, full of information.
That was a great segment.
It really was. And Kay is going to be a busy person for a very long time. Yeah. Very, very long time.
Reminder for the chat. Links are in the description for everything we talk about. So that's where you can find the Internet Archive. Got a couple people that are like, where do I find this thing? It's in the description. Go check it out.
And also Kevin, one of our net controls, KC7 FPF, he wanted to remind everyone that it is now fire prevention special event time. So please find him as November 4 Foxtrot. But he will also be on 7192 this evening. DMR had to get canceled tonight. Everybody was super busy and couldn't do that, but we've got D-Star going in the background. And, I don't know when they're moving to 80, but for right now, let's say that they're on 14268 with Steve, W7UDI. So, all right. With that, thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you very much. 73.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
7-3.
So, Don, did you go to a Hamfest last weekend?
I did. Slidell, Louisiana on Saturday.
I had someone who listens to our podcast email in and say, I met Don this weekend, and he was quite ecstatic about that. So he had a good time out there.
Yep.